Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us today on this very exciting day as we launch GoodData FlexConnect. I am joined here by Jan Soubusta, otherwise known as Jacek. Jacek, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so Jan Soubusta is my name, and distinguished software engineer is my official role. But what does it mean? Actually, it means that I am responsible for the overall architecture of good data, uh, also still partially for the development of new features, like, for example, now I'm responsible for AI. And also, regularly, I attend conferences and meetups and speaking publicly for good data.
Yeah, so today Jacek and I are going to walk you through FlexConnect. So let's start with the most obvious question, Jacek. What is FlexConnect?
Okay, so the FlexConnect, I would describe it as a gateway from good data to basically any data sources. Yeah. So typical business intelligence or data platforms. Uh, they have like tens of connectors to data warehouses and OLTP databases and even some like more rare data sources. But usually there are like tens, and it's not possible to maintain like hundreds or even thousands. And that's exactly where we come with FlexConnect. So instead of like waiting for the vendor to deliver a custom connector as a part of the platform, we allow our customers to build their own connectors for their even like proprietary APIs and whatever can produce a data can be a data source for our FlexConnect.
Gotcha. So really you could, because it is a common issue. You've got some internal, APIs that you want to get into BI, and there's no way to directly connect BI to that, right? You have to build your own integration, landing the data in some database, and then BI can query the database. But Flex Connect allows you to just build a direct integration between good data and really any data source. We mentioned APIs and connecting there. I think that's going to be a big use case, but there's more to Flex Connect than just connecting. That's kind of where the idea, the word flex comes in.
Mhm.
So what else can you do with Flex Connect? Yes, it's a connector, but there's some special features of those connector that we want to make sure people understand.
Yeah. So customers, they basically get a foundation, so they don't need to write a lot of boilerplates and all this stuff. And then inside, they can deliver or develop their own custom logic. Yeah. And this logic can be just to pass data from the data source to good data, but the logic can be actually much more complicated. Yeah. So you can, for example, benchmark your customers, their data among each other. You can build basically any business logic inside this connector before the result lands into good data platform.
Yeah, so and one of the big advantages of that is going to be in data quality and reusability. Like you imagine the typical BI workflow, you might have a connection to a data source. Built on top of that connection, you could have many data models. And then built on top of those data models, you could have hundreds of dashboards. And by giving you the ability to embed logic directly into the data source connection itself, you ensure that that logic is always processed at runtime when the user is accessing the data. And it just is kind of it's almost the next level guarantee of governance and data quality for whatever that important logic is. And our customers who are using the Flex Connect beta, that's what we see them doing a lot of times is they take the most important pieces of logic and they embed it directly in the connection. So that whether you've got a self-service user or an engineer in another department, it doesn't matter who, if they're connecting to that data source, you can guarantee your logic is going to apply. There's also a way in which this allows us to integrate with machine learning in a bit better way than a typical BI tool. Could you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so like typically there are two separate departments in companies, like data science and let's say um, ETL part and all this stuff, and even the analytics. And so when you want to embed results of machine learning into the analytics, into data platforms, you usually have to materialize the result of machine learning back to the data warehouse and join it with the historical data and with all the other data. So that's actually not that flexible. And that's exactly why we can now recommend to connect machine learning endpoints directly as a data sets into analytical platform or data platform and join it together with the historical data with basically any data. Yeah. As long as obviously there are some kind of like shared dimension so you can compare these two worlds. But the flexibility coming from this is actually huge, yeah, because even the context coming from the end user, like for example, what you set in the filters, is automatically propagated down to these connectors. And if the connector is machine learning, so the context can actually be a parameter of inference from this machine learning model. So it's very flexible. You don't need to materialize all these combinations of how you can like call this inference. Instead, you can use our FlexConnect, pass the context down to the machine learning inference, and then get the result and join it with the rest of the data and like with this context. Yeah.
Yeah, that's again, it's the flexibility, the ability to to directly connect to an ML model, because that's what I see people doing is they output something from ML and then they land it in a data warehouse, and that's the only way they're able to bring any of that into BI, and that's quite restrictive, as you said. Because you can't, by directly connecting BI to your ML models, you can have the parameters of the ML available in BI, and at runtime, interact with those parameters, as opposed to if it's materialized in SQL, like whatever's in that table, like that's what you get. There's no interactivity. There's no ability to rerun a model on demand or anything like that. So FlexConnect is part of the GoodData Analytics Lake. And if, for those of you who don't know, we have three product modules here at GoodData. There's GoodData BI, which is, if you're an existing customer, that's our classic and powerful BI platform. And then there's GoodData AI, which is entering closed beta with some customers right now. That's our artificial intelligence combination, large language model, small language model, and machine learning platform all in one. And then finally, there's the GoodData Analytics Lake. FlexConnect is part of that analytics lake. So that begs the question, Jacek, what is the GoodData Analytics Lake?
Yeah, it actually wouldn't work without the analytics lake. So the analytics lake consists of two parts. One part is actually the logical or the semantic part, and it's our semantic layer. Yeah, so it's basically business or logical description of the data. And these data can be not only like data coming from, for example, data warehouse, but also from this FlexConnect. Yeah. And so to make the logical part efficient, you need to provide this user uh, like the ability to describe everything. There are much more properties in the logical world than there are in the physical world. And when you like know everything this, you can be much smarter. And for instance, this third pillar, the AI part, is powered by the semantic layer as well. Yeah, because once you know everything about like semantically about the data, you can then be much smarter even in the AI. So that's the semantic part. And the physical part is actually powered by open source projects like Apache Arrow and DuckDB. It's a lot about performance. It's a lot about efficiency, cost optimization, and so on. And it's responsible for the physical execution of on top of the data. And not only, again, not only about, it's not only about data coming from traditional data sources, but newly now it's also about data coming from this FlexConnect, from custom connectors with custom computation logic. But this engine can like not only crunch all these sources, but it can also blend these sources. Yeah, so you can like compare data coming from traditional warehouses with data coming from some custom FlexConnect, the connector.
Yeah, yeah, it's really that was a good description of it. Yeah, it's really kind of a high performance data platform for the people who are building data products, right? And built on really powerful and modern open source technologies is one
Yeah,
of the key benefits of it. All right,
yeah.
so
It's maybe one more note, last note. It's not only about what is happening inside the analytics lake, but it's also about how the data are transferred across the network. Yeah, and that's actually very relevant for the FlexConnect because the custom connector, which is built by a customer, communicates with good data also with this very efficient, actually most efficient protocol, Arrow protocol. So even like the communication across the network is very performant, actually even much more performant than it's the communication with the traditional data warehouses where you usually use like protocols like JDBC, right?
right, yeah, yeah, the data volume advantage of Arrow that you can transfer, the speed at which you can transfer and the volumes you can transfer are huge. And that's one of the reasons why we chose the Arrow ecosystem to be the foundation of the platform. Great. Okay. So we're out of time there. I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Jacek, for helping us explore what FlexConnect is. Of course, if you're interested in FlexConnect, check it out, gooddata.com. There'll be a lot more information about it there. We've got lots of cool articles coming out, and you can always sign up for a trial of Good Data to test out FlexConnect yourself. Okay. Thanks for joining us again, Jacek, and take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.